Hello, guys. Here we go. Maduro in court in New York City. It's getting serious in there, guys. Let's find out what's going on. His first day in court. Is he gonna plead guilty or not? What's your opinion? Leave it comment down below. Let's find out. And also his wife. Let's find out.
Moment. The judge then asked if Maduro has read the indictment. The counsel, about whom we just spoke, answered for him and says it's been summarized for him and that he understands it. Maduro then waived the public reading of the charges, says he will read them himself. The judge did then read him his rights. He acknowledged his counsel, Mr. Pollack. Then the judge read essentially his Miranda. And then Maduro said he did not know of these rights, but that he is now informed. And then Maduro went on to plead not guilty.
Wow. He says, I am still president of my country.
Right. And he says that for a number of reasons. I would imagine, number one, because that's the way he sees his situation. Number two, Manuel Noriega, the Panamanian dictator who was taken into custody in the Bush administration, and we heard from Bill Barr earlier today. He was the AG in charge of overseeing that at the Department of Justice at the time. But the head of state immunity is the one that he knows he can press, that he will try to use to defend himself, that I have immunity because I am the head of state. It did not work for Noriega in that trial back in Panama, and he was indicted on very similar drug charges, drug trafficking charges. The other thing that I would mention is, just in terms of venue, as Emily pointed out, it could have been anywhere. I think some people would have argued that Florida was a good venue for this particular case. It is in New York. It falls under the U.S. Attorney Jay Clayton in the Southern District of New York in this case, and they have a lot of experience with this, but it is unlikely to go to trial for a very long time. And one of the issues, it will have a very long process, is what I'm hearing from former federal officials. And so he is likely to sit in jail for quite some time.
That's a fascinating detail, how long he sits in jail. And that cartel of the Sons, De La Solis, you've got those members, you've got Tren de Aragua, you've got others. Those people are going to try to continue to do business. And that's just fresh intelligence on the ground for who will be there, the United States. And so it gets more complicated day by day, I would imagine. But that is such an interesting point of how long he'll sit there. I was trying to find his age, because that matters too, right? The longer he sits there, maybe that changes things for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's been in power for 17 years. And we can look up his age. I'm not exactly sure, but it is, he's not recognized. 50 countries do not recognize him as the legitimate leader of this country, including the EU. So this is we just heard about this from Michael Waltz at the United Nations. So this is a there's a lot of consensus on this. Did you just discover?
Yeah, I found it, and maybe because I'm getting older, but 63 doesn't seem that old to me.
Yeah, I would put him around there. And he's a tall man with a big.
Well, apparently he was towering over his counsel.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Just want to point out too, his wife now has counsel as well. Texas Attorney Mark Donnelly filed motion to be admitted as counsel for Celia Adela Flores de Maduro. So I believe that there are something is happening with her right now, according to Paul's notes in the room. It appears we are getting a sense of a very defiant Maduro in this courtroom, insisting he has done nothing wrong repeatedly, to the point where the judge has had to stop him from talking.
Yeah, and he is, he said, well, we could talk about the 4 counts and the fact that you want to, say that you're not guilty to all 4, but we're not doing it today. I want to bring in Carrie Urban. Again, we have a team of people who are watching this for us, legal experts, and we also have Paul Morrow, who is a legal expert as well, a former NYPD, and has been inside that courtroom many times. He's at the courthouse. So, Carrie Urban, I want to go to you now about the defiance that we are hearing reported inside the courtroom. And was that anticipated? Does that matter?
Yes. Well, the fact that he's wearing a black shirt on top of his orange jumpsuit, that's defiance in a t-shirt, right? It's symbolizing control. It's saying, look, I'm doing what I want to do still, and I'm in charge. But look, his wife, and since we're talking about ages, she's 69, and she is about to be arraigned. She's no shrinking violet. She was the head of Venezuela's Congress, what's Congress for them. She was Attorney General, and there are some serious allegations against her in this indictment, including the fact that she attended a meeting where she accepted hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes to broker a meeting between a large-scale drug trafficker and, wait for it, the director of Venezuela's National Anti-Drug Office. Yes, they actually have one, apparently. Her nephews were recorded, presumably to DEA sources, and they said that they were, quote, at war with the United States. And that's very helpful language, I think, for the government's case as they bring that, for sure. And those were her nephews. But interestingly, they indicated in this meeting that they were seeking to raise $20 million in drug proceeds to support a campaign by Celia for her re-election campaign for National Assembly when she was running that. So it's quite a family operation that has been using the Venezuelan government as a front for this international drug operation for many years now.
Yeah, guys, this administration, head administration, Maduro and his wife, has been running drug operations from the top for a long time now. We're here, and wow, got the kids. He got a family, whole family, got the kids involved. They got national anti-drug thing, but they're making deals with them, man. If this true, that's crazy. This doesn't make any sense. If that's true, that is some corruption at the highest level of a nation, sovereign nation. That's the highest level. You're making with the anti-drug administration for the nation, basically the highest level of government. They're doing deals with the. You can't make this up. This is impossible to believe. It's hard. This is our news, and this is our government and national news. It's hard to believe this is true. That's crazy. That doesn't make sense. What do you guys think? They were coming down below, and he's trying to stand there and seem all powerful. I guess if you was a president, you would somebody snatch you up at nighttime in your house or something, your palace. You would be kind of defiant and everything, you know. But hey, that means your military was weak, bro. Your military was weak. If you let them come in and just snatch you out of your country, that was a weak military, man. It appears, or they didn't have your back. Either I'm gonna put it on they didn't have your back instead of being weak. Uh, so let's continue. What y'all think? Do- I don't know how to. What's your opinion, Chad? What's your opinion out there? Let me know what you think. Leave a comment, subscribe down below. I'd like to hear from you. It's crazy.
So, the most recent video that I remember where we saw anything coming from Maduro was in that moving car where he was saying, come and get me. And, he's not afraid of anything, that sort of thing. I'm paraphrasing. Some of it was salty. But I'm curious to know what's being seen in court today. Is that the individual who was anticipating being taken? They were trying to go into, a locked room. They were trying to get away and hide in their protective room, and they couldn't outrun our U.S. military, he and his wife.
Yeah, that's right. And look, this is standard processes of justice that's happening right now. They're being arraigned. They're entering their pleas. We're seeing who's representing them. And his wife, it seems like, is up next. The fact that he wants to read, apparently, the charges himself, I think you just said that out loud. I didn't see that in the notes, but that's quite interesting as well. He is, I think, like Martha was pointing out, he is very much wanting to portray to the world, I am the president of Venezuela. I am in charge, and I'm not going down without a fight. Now, of course, because of the Noriega precedent and this being a very, I think, open and shut law enforcement case with the added benefit of defenses from a national security perspective, I don't really think he has much of a shot. But this is going to take some time, and it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
So it's interesting from our team, our producing team, and also Paul Morrow in the courthouse. The wife, Celia Flores, is dressed the same as Maduro. She confirms her identity. Her voice is weaker, thin. She waives her charges being read to her. Overall, Maduro comes off as defiant. The wife seems defeated and small. That's our team making these observations. And she says that she's pleading not guilty, quote unquote, completely innocent. So we are hearing from her at this point, Carrie.
In the indictment, the government also alleges that both she and her husband maintained their own personal groups of state-sponsored gangs to facilitate and protect their drug trafficking operations. I mean, this is extensive, powerful stuff here, and she appears to be right there with Maduro all along. In fact, there's some local reporting that I was looking at earlier that has suggested along the way that she may be even more astute than he is, and that she may actually behind the scenes even be more powerful. So while I'm looking at Maduro for sure, because obviously he's the one in charge, I personally am just as interested in his wife and seeing what happens there.
Yeah, and look, I want to remind everybody, we are joined today by Trey Gowdy, Jonathan Turley, Donna Rotunno, who we've seen this hour, and Carrie Urban as our legal expert standing by. But I want to bring it to the couch for right now. Inside the courtroom, prosecutor just stated that the defendants have the right to request consular consultation. That is to consult with the Venezuelan consultation. Judge reads this to the two defendants, and then they both stand and say, yes, they want that. This will be scheduled. Emily.
Yes, and interestingly, after that, so the judge also reminds everyone about the Brady obligations, sort of interrupting the prosecutor to state so, which effectively means that the prosecution has to present all evidence, give all evidence to the respective defendants' attorneys. And they say, of course, I will comply. Of course, we will do this. I note, too, just to take a step back, that the judge opened the proceeding by making a broader statement about how he will ensure a fair trial. And you and I, all of us have here on the couch, covered very extensively the amount of trials where the judge does that. These high-profile trials where from the beginning the judge makes a statement that says, essentially, have no fear, we are impervious to political pressure, we will stick to the letter of the law, process is everything, the defendants will receive a fair trial, even if we have our preconceived notions of them to begin with. So the judge here, no exception. And as you stated earlier, that the age of 92 certainly doesn't sound like it. And again, going back to the
You're talking about the judge's age there.
Yes,
yeah.
Maduro and Celia, that she has now sort of been sitting, as we said, Paul Morrow said, defeated and small appearing. But Maduro, he notes in contrast, very engaged, taking copious notes on his legal pad as these proceedings continue.
And your thoughts?
Yes, and they're saying that he is very, very engaged at the moment. And that's something that we've seen from his character going back many years. And you think back to that moment where he stood up and he said, come and get me, come and get me. Well, I think that was a result of he did not think people were coming to get him. He saw the last administration not acting on its, on these indictments. And I think he felt that no one was going to make that move to go in and get him. Despite the military buildup in the Caribbean, despite the ships there, he felt he was protected. And he's clearly someone who likes to make his opinions heard. You remember when he got off the helicopter, he said, he turned to the journalist and he said, Happy New Year. He was talking to them. He is engaged. And I think he will use this opportunity. He must know he's spending the rest of his life in jail. You know, the counterterrorism or the counterintelligence head of Venezuela was indicted a few years ago, and he will presumably also be giving evidence against Maduro. So we think that there is going to be a lot of evidence against him. And so, look, this next year or more that this trial goes on is Maduro's last chance to really stand up and make his voice heard and try and raise up opinion, not just around the world, but also in Venezuela. He needs the Venezuelan people to hear that voice so that they don't turn quickly to the US. He wants to get these people on the streets of Venezuela to show support back home, or else his future is gone. His power there is gone. So he wants to keep that going as well.
You know, it's probably not the right day to get into China and all of this. I started a little bit of this conversation last hour because I'm so fascinated by the tight knitting between Iran, China, Russia, and Venezuela through its oil. And on a day when I think we can really dig into it. But I just want to get some top line thoughts on that.
Well, very briefly.
Yeah, before we get there, I want to talk about this. Yeah, Maduro has to be, in my opinion, he has to be seen as the president of Venezuela. He has to keep that, because he just gets snapped by foreign power. And he's all the way in New York City. I know at least just 1,000 miles from over 1,000 miles from where he's from. this crazy. This is you know he has to show his power, his presidential power through any glance he got. He's a politician. He's a top politician. So the president's still a politician. So he knows the power of the camera. He knows the power of the lens. He knows the power. He knows everything's that's played and how to use it. So he definitely gonna use that and in his favor. So he is a politician. He knows 17 years in power. Yeah, he knows how to use that camera right now. He had experience. So he's gonna use it to the best of his ability. Now let's go into China, Russia, and Iran. These foreign powers, uh, they have their position in the country and working with this president previously, and the people, Venezuelan people, have been talking about this openly about Iran, China, Russia. So I don't think Iran, China, Russia are gonna get out too soon. It's gonna be since we, as a president of U.S. President Trump stated, he's gonna be taking over. So it's gonna be some pushed out of there. But right now they're probably leveraging everything they can before they get totally pushed out. But yeah, we're running it now. So yeah, they will be pushed out, but I don't think they're out at this moment, this second. All right, let's can you see what they can say about the three powerful foreign nations: China, Russia, and Venezuela.
There are so many elements to this story. Of course, there's the justice we're seeing now, but there is oil as well. And many people say, oh, talk about the oil, it's a negative word. No, it's a very real word. And then the other impact is geopolitical. Look at the powers that had influence in Venezuela: Russia, China, Iran, Hezbollah. In the southern hemisphere, Cuba, they were getting stronger there.
Close to us, proximity.
Very close. And look, if you can get them out of that country, if you can free that country, if you can take advantage of its oil, that is real positive. And look, it affects the war in Ukraine as well. Russia is banking on the oil that it's getting. And if you can bring oil prices down by getting this oil, that's a knock-on effect as well. There are countless positives behind this, and I think that's important. Last one is that every world leader who is corrupt, every terrorism out there is now on the back foot. They think it could be them next, and they haven't felt that till now. They could be next.
And Sandra, I know with these oil ghost ships and their routes that we didn't know about, and ships with no flags and all of that, this will come out, some of those routes and Venezuela's role in that, but it does attack the cost for Russia. And what is President Trump trying to do right now? He's trying to get Russia to come to the table for that Ukraine-Russia war deal. It's interesting. There is strategy there, is my point.
Yeah, and Russia is... many people in Russia in the last couple of days are saying what a waste the billions of dollars on Venezuela have been, because Russia has nothing to show for it. So it's creating criticism in Russia as well.
Yeah, it's going down in Russia.
But it does attack.
It really shows Russia, like we just heard this news reporter, national news reporter state that the ghost ships, the deals, the private deals Venezuela was making with other countries, that supposed to have been up on an international business front. They was making moves, and Russia was getting money, and getting all this stuff on the low key from different containers, all containers and stuff that were flying the Venezuela flag, but was being delivered from Venezuela. So we're finding out a lot of things that we didn't know before. We're finding out since we're heavy down in the Caribbean, in the southern hemisphere, in the Caribbean now, the U.S. Navy and U.S. Presence, we can see what's moving around, and we can look at with our technology, look and see what's on them ships that's trying to hide out. We could study them that don't have. Okay, you ain't flying no flag and no nation, so we could come aboard and find out what's up on there, because you in foreign waters outside of Russia, outside of Venezuela. We're coming up on the scene what's on this boat, because we don't know what you're gonna do, because now it can affect all of us around, especially the United States. So what's on your ship? I think that was fair enough to find out. What's your opinion? Leave your message down below. Let me know. Subscribe to the channel. Like or dislike. Turn your notification. Appreciate you. Let's find out what's going on. I think this is a great for the United States. A great move to find out what's happening in our southern hemisphere, and we'll find out more than we did before. So hey, maybe it's been the right. Was this the right move for the president to go in and uh, upheave the president of Venezuela and the first lady, or was it a bad move? What's your opinion? Let me know. Leave a comment down below.